Hello everyone, I'm Mark Anthony Albos.
And I'm Ralph Vincent Lunobrado.
When looking for operating systems to showcase, we noticed that there's a tons of Linux operating systems out there. Since we practically know nothing about Linux, we looked for the most beginner-friendly operating system. Came upon Linux Mint, an operating system built upon Ubuntu, the most popular Linux distribution. As to why Linux Mint and not straight Ubuntu, Linux Mint is said to be the gate that most ex-Windows users walk through to the world of Linux, and therefore the most welcoming to such persons. That includes us. According to netmarcher.com, Linux has a market share of 2.17%, behind Apple's macOS 9.71 share. Towering above everyone is Microsoft Windows at an impressive 87.48% market share. It's safe to assume that most, if not all of you, are Windows users. So we'll start with the advantages of both operating systems over each other. Windows having the lion's share of operating system population means that they have the largest number of customers, resulting to most software developers and distributors developing their program for Windows, leading to most desktop applications running on and exclusive to Windows. There is virtually no learning curve to using Windows. An average person could learn how to use and navigate Windows in a short amount of time.
So now let's move on to Linux's advantages. First, it's free. Most Linux distros are free. Personalization. A Windows user would typically have their desktop looking very similar to this, aside from color and wallpaper changes. With Linux, you can design your desktop to look whatever you want it to. Free software alternative. You can find an alternative to pretty much most commercial software in Linux. They might lack some of the more advanced functionalities, but they'll be more than enough for an average user. And they don't have to pay anything nor resort to piracy. They're free. Linux is free and open source. This means that anyone is allowed to copy the software, see the source code, modify it, and redistribute it. Or they could help out with fellow developers in improving something or fixing a security flaw. Linux has something called a package manager. Similar to Android's Play Store, if you need some new software, just open the package manager, type a few keywords, choose which you want, and install. One-click updating. The package manager takes care of everything installed on your system. If you want to have everything up to date, you need only click one button. Doesn't have to restart all the time. Installing a new software, restart. Windows Update, restart. Unstable system, restart. Linux, on the other hand, do not require as much restarts, only with some very rare situations. Choice. Linux is all about finding out what works for you and customizing your OS to your needs. So now let's move on to installation. First, download the Linux distro. We're gonna be using Linux Mint on this one. Then download Rufus to create a bootable drive. Once that's done, run Rufus. Select Linux Mint's ISO file, and Rufus will do everything. Now press your boot priority key, most of the time that's F12, and select the USB drive to install Linux. Select Install Linux Mint. Select Install Linux Mint alongside them, so we can use Windows alongside Linux. Allocate some drive space. Next. So now that we're done with the installation, here's the OS selection screen. We can use the arrow keys to navigate. Since we're gonna use Linux Mint, we'll just press enter. That's Linux Mint right there. We're gonna switch to Kazam, a Linux screencast application to get better quality footage. Although we're gonna have to download that first. Here's a nifty way to install applications on Linux using the terminal. No need for software managers, web browsers, downloaders, etc. Just a few keystrokes and we're done. This is the software manager. Like mentioned earlier, this one's pretty similar to Android's Play Store. Let's try to install qBittorrent, but using the terminal again this time. Sudo stands for super user do or substitute user do. It's basically Windows administrator privilege. Now for some basic navigation and a peek at system settings and personalization. As stated before, Linux is all about user choice. Linux has all the tools an experienced user could take advantage of to basically create an OS that's perfect to suit all of their needs and work.